Sauroctonos is the chariot for the Dark Memes Tarot of the Drill Sergeant Grey Nexion. And we see on the card some different numbers other than the placement of the chariot. Now, some of this, of course, relates to other possible placements that you can connect the power. Mars to Jupiter is path number 20, but image number 9. So we already see quite clearly why the left hand to the feet as the judgment card or some other sort of thing like that, and the sun to, the pelvis to the right hand as the hermit show up. We also see why card number 11 going between the elbows as the strength card, and the pelvis to the left hand as the justice card is also depicted there. Now, the hanged man card, the left elbow to the left hand, is the placement that we come across because of some of the mythology related to the chariot also connecting at that point. And one thing that you're not going to notice, perhaps, in Christos Beast's photo is that the sigil is also held in the left hand. So for his card number 11, the being holds up its right hand with probably a beaded necklace with the sigil at the end. A lot of people with their pathworking operations will employ both things at the same time. You'll make a new sigil, you'll wear one, maybe even you'll have a one that you have made. And people like to use particular metals, just like there's a lot of instructions on how to use the particular incenses and incense blends. Now, we have some aspects of what occurs on the card. The person crawled up on his bed, I've combined that, the sitting on the knees thing. We're not quite at there with the crippled boy, but we do see that mention of the poem. And sort of, I've included that as sort of an inclusion into the picture of the old artifact. Now, the gesture of interlacing the fingers, it's different when you say, this is how close it is, and this is that sort of thing, or you hold the hand of the one person with interlaced fingers, and that has some different meaning than sitting like that. Now, why do they depict bad guys on the movies as having those hands? Well, it's a gesture of cursing. It really is. And in psychology, the fingers are, folded on the outside if you're hiding stuff from other people or you're deceiving other people in a, way of holding back. They're pointed in when it's about yourself. You kind of want to cover what things are for oneself. The star descending into the forest. In a way, we have that kind of represented in different ways. Certainly, there's bright spots on the picture of the old artifact. We also have the idea of, this starry forest. Of course, we have the sign of Cancer, and Cancer is cardinal air in the age of Aquarius. But before we get into that a little bit there, so we have a tunnel. Well, this is all depicted inside of something. Now, it's an artificial structure, and we also have the box or the building, which has the sigils that we put on that are typically put on the book if you're just copying out that. And so we got our bones in the forest, some bits of skull and arm and stuff like this, and well, leg from wild animals. There should be a picture uh, of a snail shell or something in there. It doesn't. I've tried blowing up the picture. I guess the size that I shrunk it to kind of hides that, which is fine. It's like the paths of weird. There are hidden paths. Um, the monster in the corner, you could say, we're operating something a little different because the hand angled up is on the right, on the other it's on the left, um, and you still get this perception that it's facing right, um, and the hand sticking out. Now I made the hand like that because it's the letter Y in a particular alphabet, and there's hermit qualities to this whole thing. Because like, why didn't I include Mr. How do you pronounce this? Apollon Sauroctonos. So the assembling, the oh, it's hard to figure out. The Apollo is kind of archaic, right? So so the fence, see, that makes it perfect for a chariot card because there's the fence. And so the fence that maintains that cha, the letter cha, but I didn't put that on the card. So it corresponds to the gathering, to the wall, to the stone, um, to the simple, to the fold, to the ever accomplishing, ever wiping, and of course destruction. And of course, the story of Nike is interesting because of what happened with the Olympics, right? The Olympics was with the wingless, the winged angel, headless looking thing. Well, it originally had a head, but for some reason they wanted to still have their representation in the Olympics be a headless thing. Um, and so Nika both represents power of the ultimate causal and supports in sort of a way. But it's beyond, it's like, hey, I'm here and, you know, and oh, I'm encouraging you or aiding you. Victory exists sort of independent on that. And sometimes victory presents things to us. It presents a victory that's not quite what we expected or what we wanted. It's not a force that says to hold back. You know, certainly the chariot card is about people's roles. And so their roles, their forms, all that stuff, that's not us. You know, some people will depict, you know, the victory card as, you know, like there's this inner force to it all. And so I recently had a dream of four horsemen, and one of them was a green horse, a white horse, a black horse, and a red horse. I think were the colors of the horse. I'd have to double check. I've also put that. Um, and obviously our past choices, the fact that this is a shiny sort of stone. Is it marble? I think it's stone because you got different. I think it is type of marble or something that this is carved out of. Um, yeah, the crippled boy, the forest, the stars. So we got a forest at night. Answer. Acubens are alpha cancri. Um, it's known as al zubana or sertan, which azubana means the claws, and sertan is saurocton, which means the crab, and beta cancri means the eye, and delta cancri relates to the southern donkey cult with an O, if you can't quite get that. Um, Cancer is said to have the moon as its sign ruler, Saturn as its detriment, exaltation with Jupiter, fall with Mars, and some people might also refer to the sun because, like, I use a triplicity model of the symbol of, you know, so three for every sign. And so the cross quarters are given a sun sign. So, but the moon is definitely one that you would have in that one. I forget which other one I add to it. And one thing that you find with Nike is that Nike has, I'm not sure about the representation of the horses. Certainly, a horse relates to ride and all. And we have Nike referring to power and all that. You have, of course, it's not just your physical position, it's it's your particular skill and attention that brings about the origin, that brings about the victory. And you may not be aware that victory is, per se, directly awarding you. And was it grafted into Athena, or was it grafted out of Athena myths? Certainly, when we're talking about what they call deities, as far as the story goes, that's how they break things up. They give things form and divide things into different things, and it refers to Nikain, to quarrel, Nikos, strife, and certainly ultimately we want to be ones who have the upper hand. And we almost feel with what's going on here, aside the relationship to Zeus, which is undepicted, and maybe we can say Zeus is the monster in the corner. But one of the things that we're running into is like, okay, you're taking off the symbol, but maybe the guy takes off the symbol and he's saying, hey, listen, I'm not bound by these conditions. maybe I bind by these conditions, but the sigil, you don't have to have the sigil with you. You can make the sigil, however, you can use it internally. Um, and of course, one of the things about cancer is sort of the thing. It's like it has its impact and says its bit to get away and, just steps aside sometimes. And that's sometimes just how it goes down, right? Um, you need to retreat into yourself. You maybe need to switch internal and the external in what's going on with some of these things. And one of the workings that a lot of people should probably do, particularly if you use any tarot deck, is to come up with your own ideas or connect to a personal deck or something related to an order that you personally are working with. Now, I think they should have done a full-on card, right? One of the things that the Order of Nine Angles attributes to the tarot card is the Azah, that transcendent sort of elixir. It's what you're trying to get to. It's maybe what you're trying to maintain, with all these people trying to twist you from your nature and all that other stuff, rather than you being in control of that, or maybe you think you're in control. And so one of the ideas of the person in the corner is the strong person in the animal skins and, all grimly and all that. And there's a glowing power. And perhaps that's the eight at the edges. People's like, oh, you're in the dark and all that. It's like, but if you see, you see. And I don't have the moon shown in this card, but you could say whether this is ivory or white marble that you see in white as the central graphic, it represents much the same. And the redness, you could say, is of the sigil is as the desert. And the dragon relates to the blue there. And the lizard killer is as the beast on a chain. So again, there's that psychological thing of the youth. Why is Apollo depicted as an adolescent and the lizard? So, the hormones are new and all that stuff, but there's more to the story than that, right? What is being guarded? What advice is being given to the person in their corral? I mean, other than the fact that, hey, okay, you may have to go through this physically, but you are something else. You are something that's not contained. You're not what you're doing. And, there's the dramatic way that we could say that. And whether we're depicting roots or tentacles or whatever, it comes out the same. And that's why the hair or whatever that is kind of going off screen because it's reaching out, weaving in, finding its place. So you may think you're trapped, you may think you're limited, but in a way that's for your transformation. It's something for you to use with haste.